Alright, welcome back to the vlog. Today I'm going to answer two questions that I've been getting quite a lot, and the first one is how to create a Lightroom preset, and the second one is my process and just my export settings when posting to Instagram. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button. That would help me out a ton. Lots more tutorials, different how-tos, really just a lot of utility-based content coming down the pipe. And if you subscribe, you get a notification every time I release a video. Okay, let's jump into it. First, I'm going to show you how to take your raw images, which are really flat and neutral color toned and meant to be edited, and they'll look like this, to make them look like this when you very first import them. And this little trick will give you a really great starting place to start editing your photos from. It'll also speed up your workflow immensely. All right, to start, we're gonna open up Lightroom. We're gonna click on any photo in your library. I'll start with this one. Go to the development module, or you can press D. And then I'm gonna start off by doing some edits to this photo. I'm gonna slightly decrease highlights, increase shadows, increase whites, increase my clarity, vibrance just a little bit. Go down to my tonal curve. Here I'm going to increase highlights, increase lights, decrease darks, decrease shadows. What this tonal curve, S-curve here does is just, it adds more contrast and kind of depth to the image. All right, next I'll drop down to detail. I'll change this to 65, my masking to about 3. What this will do is to make sure your sharpening settings are optimized if you are to print anything. My friend Jordan Gill actually taught me that trick. His Instagram handle is Jordan Gill Photography, and Jordan and I, we've spent thousands and thousands of hours on Lightroom, and him and I are always kind of sharing different tricks and tips that we learn with each other. Okay, next I'm gonna go down to lens correction here, and I'm gonna click remove chromatic aberrations. The edges of your photos, or in areas where there's really bright light, and then you'll have more dark contrasty subjects, you might have kind of around that subject little tiny blown out pixels, and they'll become kind of purplish or bluish, kind of hazy. Basically they look bad, and when you print, if you print really large format, they can actually show up. And so if you click this remove chromatic aberrations button, it will help to remove that. Next thing I'll do is I'll click enable profile corrections. If you're using a lens that Adobe recognizes, it'll pop up here, and what this does is it helps to flat the image. It removes distortion. Okay, next I'll drop down to the effects tab here, and then I'm gonna add a vignette. So what this does is it darkens the edges, and it helps bring the viewer's eye to the center of the frame. There's no vignette, there's a vignette, and it just really helps focus the viewer's attention to the center of the frame. Camera calibration, I leave this on Adobe Standard. I really like this color tone. You can mess with these other ones. Camera Faithful, doesn't look bad on this image. Landscape makes the blues bluer. I prefer Adobe Standard. It's more neutral color tones for me, and it's a great starting place for my edit. Okay, now that I've made these slight adjustments here, I'm going to save these adjustments as a preset. And to do that, it's quite simple. Over here on the left, you scroll up to the top here. It's called Presets. Click Add Preset. I'm gonna make sure all my settings are selected here. I'm gonna name this, we'll call it Import Standard. I'm gonna put it in my user presets folder, and we'll press create. Again, on this left side here, if we scroll down to the bottom, and this one that I just made right here, import standard. So now I'm going to go import new photos, and you can either press Command I, or you can go File, Import Photos and Video. All right, for demonstration purposes, I'm just gonna import one photo here. You know, if you're importing an entire batch, you can do it this way as well. I'll select this photo. I'm going to develop settings, user presets, and here's the import standard preset that I just made. So I'm gonna select that to be put on this image right when I press import. And now you can see it's added these different adjustment layers automatically on top of it without me having to manually go in and do this to every single image every time. Just to show you what it looked like before, here's the before image, the raw kind of flat image. Still looks good, but when you add that initial adjustment layer, it looks so much better. And again, this is just a great starting point to start your edit from. All right, so now I want to take this image and I want to upload it to Instagram. Instagram is optimized for vertical shots, and that optimal image aspect ratio is 4:5. And this means that a vertically cropped image at that 4:5 ratio will fill up more of your phone's frame than say a square image or a horizontal image. This is a really important thing to consider for everybody posting to Instagram. You want your images to display best. You want your followers to see most of that image. You want to take up as much mind share of your followers when they're scrolling through the feed. So if you're scrolling through the feeds, and your image is taking up more space than anybody else's, I mean, that's a good thing. So to crop this image as a 4x5, again, go up here under the development tab, and then either press the R key on the keyboard, or you can press crop overlay tool right here. Now what I do to get a 4x5 is I'll click here, click 4x5. You can see, since this is a horizontally cropped photo, it's trying to crop it as a horizontal. If I want to make it vertical, I'll just grab this corner here and I'll drag kind of straight up, and then there it kind of pops it into a vertical. And I'll kind of drag this down to kind of fill the frame a little bit. That looks good. Cool, so that's how I crop. And before I post this to Instagram, I mean, so again, that import preset that I did to this image is just a starting place. So for this one, I might do a few more edits and make it a little bit brighter. And make this S-curve a little bit more prominent. Maybe even a touch more vignette. All right, that looks good. And from here, I'm going to right click. I'm gonna go down to the export. Click export. Up here, I'm gonna click export to email. File settings, I'm gonna do, this is gonna be a JPEG, sRGB is color space. Quality, I'm gonna set that to 80. I'm going to resize this and have my long edge be 1080 pixels wide, resolution 150. And I'm doing this 1080 pixels wide because Instagram, the highest resolution photo it will display is 1080 pixels wide. So anything bigger than that, it's going to down res it. Down resing is going to reduce the quality of an image. So it's really best to, really for all platforms, to match the highest display quality that they'll allow. Sharpen for screen, amount, standard. Okay, then before I press export, I'm going to save these settings as an export preset so that the next time I want to make an Instagram photo here from Lightroom, I don't have to go in and readjust all my settings. And to do that, super simple, just right here, you press add. We'll name this IG photo and put it in my user presets folder, and we'll press create. All right, now that's there, and then we'll press export. Okay, now an email prompt is gonna come up. You can send this to yourself, put a subject in there, add all your caption, title, and hashtags, or you can just press send. This is what I typically do. And when I press send here, it's just going to automatically open up my Apple Mail. For people with other emails, I don't exactly know what it's gonna do here. It might open up your Gmail, I'm not really sure. It might open up Outlook, but this is what it does for me. It opens up Apple Mail. Have it send to myself. I'll name it Instagram post, and then I'll add a caption. All right, and then I'll go ahead and send this to myself. All right, next I'm going to open up my email on my phone. I'm gonna save the image to my camera roll from that email. And then I'm going to copy the text and the hashtags, open up Instagram, add the image from my camera roll, paste the text, then post it. All right, that's a wrap for this Instagram and Lightroom tutorial. I'd love to hear how other people do things. If someone has a more efficient way to do this, like, man, I'm all ears. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.